Hello, my name is Broderick. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Governlabs. Today I'm going to start by walking you through a history of decentralized finance and decentralized autonomous organizations. The reason that I'm doing them both at the same time and not individually is that, in my opinion, they're two sides of the same coin. DeFi relies on decentralized governance for its journey of progressive decentralization. And whether you like it or not, DeFi is the killer application of DAOs at this time. That might change in the future, but that is the state of things. So starting where it all began was the launch of Ethereum in 2015. The advent of Ethereum was the advent of smart contracts. This is essentially putting if this, then that logic on an open, permissionless infrastructure, which allowed people to start playing around with, both theoretically and in code, different types of organizational structures and different types of logic structures that were not possible. These primarily came down to two categories. One was decentralized finance, one was DAOs. DeFi is taking financial primitives from the traditional world and putting them on chain, be that a lending protocol, a stable coin, or whatever. And a DAO is obviously a governance structure allowing you to interact with people and have all of the interactions between them codified on an immutable base layer, which has to have consensus in order to upgrade and change. The early days of Ethereum led to both the types of projects like MakerDAO, which was sitting at the cross-section of decentralized finance and decentralized governance, where they would take the MKR token, which would be the governance token for the DAI stablecoin. It would be used to aggregate together all the different stakeholder opinions of how to govern the future of the project and how to deliver value and include value from all the people that wanted to participate. As well as that, we also had the advent of Aragon, which I think we've had speakers from earlier today. They were essentially trying to build an open, codeless playground for people to come in and experiment and see what worked, and then learn from that and iterate and grow to where we are today. From 2020 to 2021, we saw a lot of growth and optimism culminating in DeFi summer. This was when a lot of mainstream-ish applications came online, like Aave, Compound, and Uniswap. But as well as having the delivery of functioning financial primitives, they also came along with decentralized governance infrastructures, which is their DAOs. And this is when DAOs really were at their peak relative to today, because there was so much excitement about what could happen. You know, this putting the power of finance into the hands of everybody was an unknown, but still an exciting frontier. Moving then to where we are today, since that time, we obviously experienced a pretty brutal bear market. A lot of pessimism came in, specifically on the governance side, because of its inability to really deliver on the fantasies we had, largely because these were fantasies and not actually pragmatic ways of looking at the evolution of a complex and security-intensive technology. But as well as that, we saw a lot of fragmentation, and this is as a lot of alt L1s, L2s, and L3s came online. As these projects tried to conquer these chains simultaneously, it fragmented users, liquidity, and governance processes. This is a problem that we're going to see increase further as a lot of the L3s come online later this year. Optimism, Arbitrum, ZK Stack, everybody has a way to get individual app chains deployed. But how do we get different use cases, different types of DeFi, and every type of use case to go to these chains, deliver value, and be effective at scale? When looking at the solutions, I think for me it comes down to five possible components. One is modular architectures. Modular architecture stands in opposition to monolithic, and essentially means that you can take all of the complexities of an organization, break it down into individual segments, and as technology evolves in individual verticals, you can swap out individual parts as opposed to the whole thing having to be scrapped and rebuilt from the ground up. This is very important, especially in an ecosystem with rapid technology evolution, because again, going through all of the development processes and then all the time and cost of audits is a real problem. As well as that, I think we need to take the perspective of smart contract aggregation. A problem that I've seen in the DAO ecosystem is that everybody comes along thinking that they have the vision of how to make everything better, so they build everything from the ground up based on their own standards. But the problem is, if you were to look at an ecosystem like Governor, for example, which has been basically updated and maintained by OpenZeppelin, there is so much incredible smart contract technology out there that can be leveraged, but we need to understand what is out there, is it useful, and how to use it if we want to. As well as that, sometimes it makes sense to fork, sometimes it makes sense to integrate, sometimes it makes sense to have technology partnerships. There's some amazing technology providers in this space, and you have to realize you can't do everything together. This is a collective, inclusive movement, and where you can pass over control or have dependencies on reliable third parties, you should do that. And as I said, all these L2s and L3s are meaning that we need to have some kind of trust minimized way of getting to all these ecosystems without having the traditional liquidity bridge risks that have lost billions of dollars over the last few years. Finally, and what's relevant for this specific summit, is that we need to have unified governance across these different chains, because right now, if you're a DeFi protocol on Ethereum, you expand to all these L2s, because you cannot have on-chain, cross-chain governance, you're inherently creating second-class citizens within your own economy, and that's obviously terrible, because then all of the input that could be bringing you to a brighter future is being missed out on, and it really creates a poor incentive model. What I'm talking about now is a reinvention of cross-chain DeFi without compromise, and a large part of that is decentralized governance. So my solution to this is modular OS, the first modular operating system where you can build, manage, and scale DeFi projects with no coding required. As I mentioned earlier, this is where we looked at the ecosystem to see what was out there, what can we actually leverage. We started by basing it on the Governor ecosystem because it has such plentiful supply of amazing technologies to leverage. We then also said, okay, what else do we need? We need to be able to have certain types of outsourcing for different types of complex processes, be it bridging, be it Sybil resistance. So basically, we went around and we built a no-code platform where you can come, you can deploy your organization over multiple L2s. We use our trust minimized bridging partners to get your assets to those chains. Once you are there, we use our bonding engine, which is a bond that is similar to protocol and liquidity, but compatible with Uniswap v3, to be able to bootstrap your liquidity, your TVL, your users. And as well as that, we have the first on-chain, cross-chain voting functionality available in the ecosystem, which is one I want to deliver to you today. So as you can see here in the demo, we have both bridging functionality, voting functionality, bonding, and we have organization token deployment. When it comes to the development of the platform, as I mentioned, sometimes it makes sense to fork, sometimes it makes sense to innovate, sometimes it makes sense to innovate and integrate. In this case, we've found some amazing technology partners to help bring this very feature-rich environment together very quickly. So for our bridging, we use Connext. Through their invention of the XRC20 standard, instead of locking up all this money in bridges, which is very vulnerable to attack and is essentially a honeypot, you burn tokens on one bridge, you mint them on another, you burn tokens on one chain, you mint them on another chain, and all that's passing between is a message. This is the next evolution of bridging technologies, and these guys pioneered that movement, which is why Aave v3 used that for the foundation of their portals. So we're very proud to be working with Connext. As well as that, we decided to build on top of Tally. We're massive believers in on-chain votes as opposed to off-chain votes. We think it's where all organizations should be moving to, even though it has its difficulties. And so we're proud to be built on them too. As well as that, we rely on Gitcoin and the Gitcoin passport for our Sybil resistance. Sybil resistance is basically saying that there's someone that votes from one wallet is someone that votes from one wallet, and it's not one person voting from 10 wallets trying to game whatever your system may be. By combining these three, we have created the first on-chain, cross-chain, quadratic voting implementation with Sybil resistance. This is an industry first, which is now possible. It changes the game for having egalitarian input into your DAO. And again, this can be a cross-chain DAO over 20 different blockchains. Everybody is a first-class citizen. We're not bifurcating or creating any type of inequality. I just want to say that thank you very much for listening to this talk. We have just built our alpha. We will be going into our private beta very soon. If you're interested, either as a DAO or DeFi project, please do reach out. We're excited to work together. And whilst what we built is impressive, it is just the beginning, and we're happy to work with you to figure out how to build this future. So thank you very much, and if you want to talk, find me after.